Hey there, listeners. I'm always curious about high performers always succeeding the majority of the time. Everything they do oozes success. Everything they do oozes confidence. It's really amazing to watch how high performers actually work and what they actually do. They seem to have it all sorted. They have their things in order, and as I said before, they're very confident in what they do. Now, for some of them, it might be a little bit of show. I don't know. But I think the thing here is what I've noticed is that all the high performers that I've been around, spoken to, interviewed, they've been in my workshops, I've coached and so forth, it's actually been really interesting to see what makes them successful, but also what they do on a daily basis to help them set up for success as they go through. So that curiosity is really, really important for us to start thinking about what it means or what high performers are doing on a daily basis and how this might help you set up for success in the future. Let's discuss.
Welcome to Leadership is Changing. Each week, we and our guests provide information and insights through exploring leading change. This is taking your leadership to another level by finding the balance between executive excellence and personal well-being through stories that inspire real change. It's time to adapt in our fast-moving world when leadership is changing with your host, Denis Gianoutsos.
Hey listeners, welcome to another wonderful episode of the Ask Denis Freestyle episode. This is where I'm asked a question by our listeners, or I share my thoughts, insights, and experiences with working with many leaders around the globe. It's great to have you with me this week as we go through this Ask Denis Freestyle episode. And it's actually quite interesting to see how high performers and what they do on a daily basis. My question to you is, what time of day do you wake up? And then the second question would be, what do you do on a daily basis? What's your daily routine in the morning and during the day to help you set up for success throughout that day? The thing here is that it will vary for every single individual, right? Everybody's going to be different, and you've got to do what's right for you. But what I notice is that all high performers, when they are successful and they do really well, they tend to have certain things around them. One would be around systems. Two would be around processes. And three would be around routines that they do each day. Now, this is not just individuals. This is not just a leader in a large organization, small organization, entrepreneur. This is also relevant for all aspects of life. Even think about high-performing teams in sports, in the community, all sorts of things, right? And even a household and the way that they run and things that happen and what they do on a daily basis, they all actually have systems and routines and things that they do each day. But I know there's sort of three things that you need to sort of work on to help you be that high performer. One is around focus. In other words, clear the noise and focus on what needs to happen. And what do I mean by this? Well, get rid of those distractions. For a lot of you on your phone or on your computer and things like that, you're hearing a ping come through every now and then. It's actually interesting watching people that I work with and whether it's a one-on-one coaching conversation in a group, I get them to turn everything off, at least to minimize the screen so that they can focus on the discussion. Because what actually happens here is you can see their focus go away when they see the ping or hear the ping, and their eyes tend to go towards that message and they can be lost in a conversation. It could be a really important part of the conversation and they lose it or they miss out on it because they are being distracted. So if you can block those kind of distractions, that's going to help you. People coming into your office, people pinging you on Teams, wanting to have a chat. That's definitely something else that will actually interrupt you. The thing here is this. There tends to be other things like shiny distractions. The next shiny thing. What do I mean by that? So, brand new phone being launched by Samsung, by Apple. People go, oh, go look at that. And they get distracted. An organization might launch a brand new project, initiative. That could be a distraction as well. But we haven't finished the other projects yet. Restructure. Organizations going through a restructure and they're announcing that they're going through a restructure and they're looking at the structure of the organization. That actually can make people not be focused anymore. Productivity can drop and it affects that area indeed. But also we can see that people sort of are unsure. They have questions. They don't have enough information yet. And it starts to make them worried and then they are really distracted. So focus is really important for all of us to make sure that we handle that area and focus well. The second area would be discipline. And it's going to take massive discipline to get things done, to make sure that you are going to be successful and you are setting yourself up for success. Wow, there's going to be lots of temptations out there that are going to try and, sort of interrupt you. But you know what? Those temptations, you can control those temptations. Now, Christmas or the end of the year coming up for people, for some of them, the temptation is they are already quitting in the year. Do you know why? Because Christmas is in the way. The new year's in the way. You know what? The year's not over yet. Keep going. But for a lot of people, that is a bit of a distraction. So being disciplined around those temptations will help. But you also being disciplined to make sure that you get things over the line. You execute really well and you make sure that you get those things and put them in place. A lot of that's going to come through to the action that you do, or the way that you actually approach things is really going to help. The third area is going to be around consistency. And this is probably one of the biggest aspects that I find that a lot of people don't do well in life. Why? Because they do what I call poke it with a stick. In other words, they give it a little bit of a go, one foot in and the other foot definitely out. Now, are they actually in or not? No, it's just the toe that is in. And so are they actually doing things that's actually going to help them move forward? And so they need to make sure that they're not just poking it with a stick, that they do keep going, that they actually do things and they're fully committed and making sure that they are achieving what they need to do on a regular basis. You see, others may be relying on you to turn up and do things on a regular basis. That's why that consistency is really important. Communicating, giving messages out, if you can actually make sure you do that on a consistent basis, people are going to understand and know what they're looking for rather than being confused and then there's a void and they don't know what's going on. Nothing around consistency is this. You think about this podcast. Every week for the last 2.5 years, we've been doing 3 episodes per week. Why? Because that's what I committed to doing. And so the consistency has been one word that a lot of people have used when they're talking to me. The consistency has been admired about the fact that we've committed to doing it and it's happening. Value is the other thing too, of course, and what they're learning from the different series of the different episodes we're having in this podcast. But in relation to what I've just talked about, focus, the discipline, and the consistency, is really an interesting topic here around motion versus action. And there's actually another area where I call it actually a reporter. And so in the Hewlett-Packard side of things in those days, we used to talk about the reporter. I'm going to use a different word about motion and then action. Somebody will come along and make a statement. They're a reporter. Hey, this isn't working. That's the reporter. They don't have any solutions. They're just reporting about something. They're making a statement. Then there's the motion. Oh, we put a plan around that. That's all good. That's just motion. But the thing is, that is not the action. The action is the part whereby you deliver on it, you implement it, you execute it, and you get on with it. That's what's really important. You see, high performers can have processes and systems, as many as they like, but it doesn't mean anything until they do action and they start to execute and implement things, which is very, very important. It's a bit like people going to a lot of courses or reading books, but then what do they do with it next? Because for me, it's more along the lines of, so what? What are you going to do with it going forward? And if you can do something with it and you can make it turn into value or something that's going to be useful, that's a really, really important thing here. See, the main point is this. What I want to say to you is, if you're going to set yourself up for success, then do what's right for you. There are people who tell me that they're up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., and they're doing certain things, meditation, some of them going off to go and prepare their day. Others are going off to do exercise in that morning before the family wakes up so they can be there for breakfast time and so forth with the family. I'm going to say to you, do whatever works for you. But that curiosity side of things that I talked about before, that word is really cool. If you can be curious about what others are doing, those who are high performers, people that you admire, people that you know who are high performers and succeeding, what I would suggest you do is that you observe what they are doing and seeing what routines they're putting in place, what systems and processes they might have, and what are they doing on a daily basis to help them be successful. Now, for some of you, you may not be able to see that because you may not be able to see them in the house and so forth and other things they might do. The question I would say to you is, what can you do about this? Well, I think that if you can think about identifying 3 to 5 of those high-performing, successful people and then approaching them and asking them to interview them or having a chat, having a coffee, lunch, something like that. But I think you should come up with 5 questions you might want to ask them, and then you sit back and you write. You write notes. You take as many notes as you can. Now, they can have the coffee and the lunch. You need to take notes. Don't get me wrong. You should have the coffee and you should eat as well. But you're there to try and learn from them and understand from their experiences, their skills, their capabilities, their war stories, which are going to really help you. But don't forget to eat, right? It's all good. It's a very, very valuable kind of thing that you can do to learn from others who are already been there before. No need for you to reinvent the wheel. Go and learn from others. See, if you can start putting these habits, these routines together now in preparation for the new year coming up, that's going to really put you in a good stead for the future. See, it's all about really dialing in what you do and how you do it. It's all about making sure that you've got clarity. Thinking about what you want to achieve is going to be really important. It's all about setting you up for success. It's all about putting those systems, those processes, those routines in place that you're going to do on a consistent basis that is going to really get you over the line. There is a reason why high-performing, successful people are successful, and that is because of what I've shared today. And they do it very well. Did they do it very well at the beginning? No, but they started. And they started getting clarity around what worked for them and what didn't work for them. Hey, listeners, there's a few books that you might want to check out as well. One is called Atomic Habits by James Clear. Another one is The Power of One More by Ed Mylett. And then High Performance Habits by Brendan Burchard. They're 3 cool books for you to check out as well, and they will help you as well around the high performance side, being successful, systems, processes, and routines. But if you can couple what I've just been talking about today with a coach, somebody who's going to work with you to get that clarity, someone's going to help you understand what the systems and processes and goals you might have to move forward. And if I can be that person to help you do that, you see, I'm just bringing some people on board now, right now to do that with me for the new year going ahead. And people are signing up with me from around the world who are wanting to work with me to help them think differently, bigger, and go to different levels. That's all cool. Now, the different levels could be different for every single person, and it is. And some have got a bigger scale, bigger vision, and others a little bit smaller, but it's all about them and what I can do to help them get where they are today to where they want to go to in the future. So if there's something I can do to help you around that space, please send me a private message on social media or on my email. It'll be in the show notes, dennis@leadingchangepartners.com. And I'd love to have a chat with you as well. We can do a 30-minute strategy session, sitting down, having a chat about things, and understanding a little bit more about where you're wanting to go to have a high-performing year and be really successful. Hey, listeners, thanks for joining me. Until next time, bye for now.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Leadership is Changing with your host, Denis Gianoutsos. Each week, we and our guests provide information and insights through exploring leading change, inspiring executives and leaders to adapt and lead a bigger game in a fast-moving world.